So I'm going to take you guys back a bit to Thursday, June 20th, 2013. It's the first day of Sled Island, a citywide music and arts festival with tons of activations, multiple locations. Are we okay? We're good? Okay, sorry. Tons of activations, multiple locations throughout the city, and what's called the Sled Island Block Party. So this exists in the East Village, which is on the cusp of the Bow and where the Elbow River meet. So the days leading up to this event, there had been considerable rain, and a lot of the organizers thought that this might not happen. But something miraculous happened on June 20th. The clouds cleared, and we had an opportunity to go on with the festival. So I remember arriving at the event and being ecstatic that we were going to go through with this. We were launching a few new food trucks and getting set up. Red Bull had showed up with this crazy stage that was built out of an old bus, and they were doing sound checks, so everything was a go. And about an hour into the first set, someone came on the microphone and said there was going to be a mandatory evacuation of downtown. Now, it kind of felt like when your hotel fire alarm goes off or your office fire alarm, and you're like, okay, we get it, we'll slowly make our way out of here, but no one really took it seriously. Now, I had a pretty long day that day, so I headed home, caught an early night's rest, and Friday morning when I awoke, I don't think I could really be ready for what our city was about to face. Now, I know that some of you probably know a few people that were affected by the flood. By a show of hands, do you guys mind showing who knows people that were affected? And was anybody in Alberta during the floods? One person, all right, perfect. So when I woke up Friday morning, obviously on social media we had seen that half of downtown was underwater. The East Village was definitely impacted. The entire zoo was underwater, and this was obviously something we weren't prepared for. So I quickly called my team, assessed that they were all safe, and I don't think you can really fathom what was going on in our city unless you were able to see it. Streets that were generally filled with people were now filled with debris and sirens, and it was just something that I think was a little too much. So. So that video was made by Bradley Stuckel. He's a talented Calgarian. Some of that footage was shot after the rain had cleared. But it was pretty interesting to see our city react. As you saw in a few of those images, people were lending hands wherever they could. Notably, our team, as soon as we assessed that there was a situation at hand, we assembled our group of food trucks to feed as many people as we could. Our team assembled at our test kitchen, prepared the meals that we could, some coffee, some soups and different things, and we got down into an area called Mission, and it's kind of right on that southwest corner. And I remember us pulling up the truck to the corner and opening the window, and these evacuees were walking by, and they said, "Hey, what are you guys selling?" And I said, "Actually, we're here to give it away." And a few first-line responders that were nearby had heard that that was going on and came up to the truck, and they said, "We've been here for 18 hours. We haven't had a single meal. Thank you for doing this." And I think in that moment I realized that no matter how small I thought our impact was going to be, it was actually going to be quite large. So within the next few days, there was people reaching out on social media asking how they could help and kind of looking for someone to kind of give them a nudge in the right direction to make some change. So Mayor Nenshi called everyone to the north side of the city and said, "Could we get 500 volunteers? We'll have buses for you. We'll get you to fill out a waiver, and we'll assess if you have the proper footwear," all these types of logistical things that usually happen with municipal governments. And 6,000 people showed up. So obviously they didn't have enough buses or enough waivers. And while we were all in awe that there were 6,000 people willing to lend a hand, I don't think any of us were shocked. So Mayor Nenshi grabbed the mic and he said, "I'm probably going to get in trouble from my legal team for saying this, but just go and help your neighbors. Get your hands dirty, grab a shovel, roll up your sleeves, whatever needs to be done, let's do it." And it was amazing to see our entire community come together. It was pure empowerment. One thing that I realized right then was that there was 1.3 million people in our city that were behaving like 100. Anyone who had a service to offer was offering it. There was electricians that were working with the city to help get the grids back on. There was people on Kijiji saying, "I have a generator, feel free to come grab it, just make sure you return it. If you need your laundry done," all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty neat. And what I realized right then was that there was a huge amount of trust, and I know that's been mentioned earlier today. Now the trust that came from our community was because we trusted ourselves to do what was right, to do what we knew was right. And we also trusted our neighbors to lend a hand. We were down in an area called Rito, and we were helping out with some food there. And on this corner house, I saw this flow of people coming in and out. And I could tell this lady that was kind of standing on the lawn owned the place. So I said, "How did you get everybody to come give you a hand? How did you get all your friends out here?" And she said, "I don't know any of them. I don't know one person that's in my house right now." But everybody was just rolling up their sleeves and getting their hands dirty. And as the weeks passed, you saw a lot of different people still remain ingrained in neighborhoods. There was a lot of waste removal that had to happen. With the fact that it was this river water, anything that it touched was contaminated. So there was no salvaging of any furniture. Houses had to be completely demolished. As they pumped out the water out of these neighborhoods, it was incredible. City Hall alone had something like 55 swimming pools of water, Olympic-sized swimming pools of water that had to be pumped from inside. Our team has always looked at business a bit differently, so we were sitting around saying, how can we help out? And we decided that the zoo, because we all love the zoo, was where we wanted to help next. So we came up with a few cool flavors, Bananimal Cracker and High Water Hippo Sorbetto, and we decided maybe these would be a way that people would get excited about helping the zoo. And we thought we'd sell them in our small retail locations and maybe it might catch fire. But the zoo heard about it, and then Calgary's largest independent grocer, Calgary Co-op, heard about it with 24 locations, and they asked if they could get on board. So in a matter of 12 weeks, we packed 10,000 jars and donated $1 from every jar. Now, it might not seem like much, but we pack every jar by hand. We make it 10 liters at a time. So for my team, it was amazing to see how committed they were in putting in overtime and doing the things that mattered the most just so they could give a little bit back to the city. And now, I don't really share too much about my personal story, but when I was searching for why this all was coming together and what it all really meant, I realized that as my childhood progressed, we didn't have a lot of money. I came from lower income housing. And my dad and I would wake up at 5 a.m. and we'd go jimmy rig the locks on the recycling bins behind the Calgary Safeway, and jump in for a couple bottles and cans so we could get through the day. And as I got older, you know, I kind of put those days behind me, but I realized more and more that as we do different things, that those grassroots days were what really helped formulate, you know, that I had this idea of doing whatever it takes. And I think there's probably a few of you in this room that can relate to that story in some way. I'm sure all of us can relate in some way because we all have a story. It's just what we choose to do with that story. You know, it's what we do with that story that gives us the power to make changes and bring ideas to life in our communities and in our cities. And I think the secret ingredient to it all is finding people that believe what you believe, and then surrounding yourself with those types of people. At Fiasco, we have core values just like every company does, but we don't put them on a wall as a checks and measures to our accountability to our consumers or our staff. We put them on the wall so that they visually guide us in every decision we make every day. And I realized that sometimes all you need is a nudge to make the right decision. So when we look at those things and they remind us of why we're in business and why we make decisions to feed during the flood, or the zoo creativity, or even things we do on a daily basis, you know, those nudges are what really give us the happiness and the inspiration to continue on. So if you guys need a nudge here today, I want you to think of something that you want to do for someone else. Now you should probably just go do it, because it's that simple. But if it seems so big and so impossible for you to do what you're thinking of, I want you to know that number 6 on our wall is whatever it takes. Our world has shown us that together we are amazing, and living in Calgary and experiencing what happened this June has shown me that nothing is impossible. Thank you.